Now, I've got something very important to say. I'm not here to razzle-dazzle and hit you with buzzwords like, I'm so motivated, passionate. Anyone can say those things, and I'm not anyone. I'm Perry Spiller. No, I'm Kayode Damali, and if you're not your own biggest fan, who do you expect to be it for you? Yes, these are the words of Kayode Damali, who is obviously well known to us for being on The Apprentice a couple of years ago. But he is actually a very successful motivational speaker, and we've got him on because here at BBC Radio Stoke, in this slot, in this part, we want to do Job Watch Extra. Because jobs are, it's the big subject, isn't it? It's sort of the fallout from coronavirus is the economic situation. We've already been talking about that. And jobs, well, they're all looking pretty uncertain for many of us. So what do you do? What do you do if you are especially on the wrong end of employment? You find yourself having lost your job. How do you get yourself back on your feet and dust yourself down? Well, Kayode, we thought would be able to talk to us about this, and he joins us right now. Lovely to have you on. Hope you don't mind me quoting yourself back to yourself, Kayode.
Hey, Perry, I've been here trying to hold my breath not to laugh out loud. How are you going to do me like this, Perry? Like, there's no warning, no preparation. No one gave me a heads up.
All right, well, you should be able to do this bit quite easily. Tell me about your company. What do you do?
So primarily myself, I'm a speaker. So speaking both in terms of in live events and, of course, over lockdown now, it's been more online.
Okay, that was short to the point. Have we lost you, or are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, right, so you sound like you've been cut off. So this is the thing. This is the rub here, isn't it? Is that people are losing their jobs in unprecedented numbers. And hopefully the economy will pick up and most people will get some job back at some point, maybe an even better job. But in the meantime, I think this is where motivation comes in. It's where it's hardest to find motivation. What advice can you give to anybody in that situation?
For people who are people have lost their jobs, or people trying to find jobs?
Well, both, I guess, yeah.
I think if we look at it in two separate things, because I think what I would say to people who lost their jobs is a bit different to people who are looking for a job. Because those who have lost their job, I think it's easy to see that the world is doomed. But I think that you really have to give it a bit of perspective. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the meme. There's two guys standing opposite side of a number on the floor. One guy's shouting a number 666. The other guy's shouting a number 999. I mean, they're both right, but it depends what perspective that you're looking at it. So yes, you can look at the fact that you lost your job as a loss. You can feel bad, or you can look at it from the other perspective and think like, right, now I'm essentially free now to do something else what I perhaps couldn't have done before.
Okay, so it's sort of thinking outside the box. It's reassessing what's in front of you, what's staring you in the face. Emotionally, how can people cope? You know, that one moment you're working, you're at the centre of everything you feel you control. The next minute you're getting out of bed thinking, well, why am I getting out of bed? How do you emotionally cope with that?
I think whenever we lose anything in life, I think as people, we become very attached to no matter where, even if, for example, I did lose my cat a few years ago, actually. Doesn't matter, whenever you have something close to you that you lose, you're always going to feel a sense of detachment or feel a sense of feeling down about it. So it's no different when you have your job. But the fact is that the way you're feeling now is only temporary. You know, it's not going to last forever. I always like to say that in a 365-day period, you know, you probably never had a complete whole year where you're feeling great. You're bound to have a bad day. So it's only temporary. Your experience is now, but it's a temporary situation. You're going to get through it.
With The Apprentice, we get to watch you and everybody else joining in the show on the world's longest, most gruelling interview. Have you any interview techniques and tips for people listening, Kayode?
In terms of interview techniques, it's funny, I was on BBC Manchester today, similar kind of question in terms of interview techniques. What I love about interviews is that there's almost like a default set of questions they always ask you. You know, you always get, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I mean, if anyone asked that question in 2015, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I don't think anyone of us got that question right. No. But so because each, you know what I mean? But because each interview always has the same kind of structure, you can kind of apply that. And the important thing is that when you are preparing your questions, it's not about you, it's about how can you help that company that you're applying for. Because everyone wants to know how you can help them, not me, all about me.
How do you answer that question? What are your weaknesses? Do you go with, I'm too humble? Is that, how do you do that?
You could do. I mean, you could do, but I think it's just the way you frame it. I mean, it's just the way that you frame it. So if you are going to say that you have a weakness, let's just say, for example, I'm not very good at pouring coffee. However, I'm persistent. I always try it, or I can't pour coffee, but I can pour a very, very good tea.
Yeah.
So it's not ending that sentence on a negative; it's ending it on a positive.
It is one of the weirdest questions to have to answer when you're supposedly selling yourself. It's a strange one.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the right way to see the world right now? We're hearing about impending job losses, the end of furlough. Obviously, the recession's been announced today, and it's a big one, the biggest one ever. How do we see this? How do we approach this? What's a positive way of approaching this?
See, I love the Japanese concept of kintsugi. I don't know if you've ever seen kintsugi, but in Japan or in the Eastern world, whenever they break a plate or whenever a clay sort of object breaks, they put it back together and fill it with gold. Like, if anyone's listening, just Google kintsugi. It's such an amazing thing. They fill anything broken with gold. And that's just the way that I see the world. So if anything is broken, how can I fill it with gold to make it look much, much better, much more prettier? So yes, we've hit... Well, I mean, we've always knew that when this recession was coming, right? So it shouldn't have been too much of a shock.
No.
But just because we're in a recession, it's like, what can we do to make it good? What can you do to make it better for your life and for the people around you?
And how can we keep ourselves mentally healthy during... Good mental health's very difficult for some people during something like this.
Absolutely. And I think that each of us, we're all individuals at the end of the day. We all got different things that we like and dislike. But one thing that I have been quite disappointed about or shocked at is the lack of talk, especially coming from, people from the government or people talking in public about, nutrition. There's not really much about nutrition being spoken about. Yes, we hear about exercise. We all know that, but it's also important to make sure you're fueling your body with the right foods and then fueling your mind with the right information. Because a lot of us, we're filling up our petrol cars with diesel, expecting it to work. But you need to fuel your body with the right nutrition to help you keep going.
Kayode, a couple of apprentice questions for you. Now you're off the show. What are your thoughts on Sir Alan Sugar? Lord Sugar.
I couldn't call him Sir Alan. Oh, yeah, Lord. I used to get told off for calling him Alan. Karen used to tell me, it's Lord Sugar, don't call him Alan. I'm like, okay, Al. But, yeah, I mean, I liked how me and him got on. I've never really... even to this day, we don't keep in contact. I don't think he really cares for me anymore, to be honest. I don't know. But I haven't got anything. I haven't got a problem with him. The short time that I spent with him on the show, he showed me a lot of respect. I showed him respect. We had a good rapport. So, yeah, I like him, man.
Is he the same off air as he is on air?
Yeah, to be fair, I think he might be a bit more pleasant off air. Yeah. Because of course on TV everything's more amplified, or magnified, I should say. But he's what you see. You know what I mean? I think I'll never forget the first moment I walked into the boardroom and our first conversation. I just felt like he was just looking at me like he wanted me to win, like to do well in life. Like he looks like he generally. I couldn't see any hate inside of him. He just looked at me like, we're both from London, maybe. But yeah, I saw a lot of good rapport with him.
And just finally, Kayode, I mean, you were a viewer's favourite. It was 2018, wasn't it, I think, for you? How do you put up with all the other nauseating specimens who go on that show?
Nauseating specimens? What an adjective. Is that adjective of the year or what? Nauseating. I've got Google. What does nauseating even mean? I'm not joking. But it's just focusing on your own game. It's like I guess people have their own agenda. Some people might be going on for what other people would deem as the wrong reasons. Other people might be doing it for the right reasons. But I'm just so focused in my lane that I've got blinkers on. Like, I'm not too concerned about what you're doing unless you're deliberately affecting me.
Yeah, ignore the competition.
And then so you've got to stand up for yourself. Yeah. Then, of course, you've got to stand up for yourself what way possible.
It's been a pleasure, Kayode. I think we've had some really good stuff off you. I'm going to look up this kintsugi as well. I think it sounds...
Yeah, kintsugi, yes, amazing.
Yeah. Okay, good speech. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Not at all. That's Kayode Damali, who's been on The Apprentice. Oh, they are nauseating, aren't they? You look at, it's just odious, but just awful. Not all of them. I mean, Coyote's lovely, but there you go. Quickly backpedal on that particular point. Right, let's have a quick look.